The Verdant Wonders event is going from March 21st at 10 a.m. to March 25th at 8 p.m. The shiny form of the Flabébés will be making their Pokemon Go debut finally, as well as Cottonee and its evolution Whimsicott getting a new costume, a flower crown, and both of these can also be shiny with the costume, so that's pretty awesome. And even better, all of these can be had without buying the event ticket. And as you may have heard, Zarude will also be returning in a special research story. However, that part will cost $8 USD, so let's talk about the free stuff first. So for the wild encounters for this event, we will see Bulbasaur, Oddish, Tangela, Hoppip, Poochyena, Nuzleaf, Shroomish, Cottonee wearing a flower crown, and then Red Flower Flabébé, Blue Flower Flabébé, Yellow Flower Flabébé, and Cutiefly. And you can see each Flabébé's region up on screen there in the graphic, but they will stay region locked for this event. And then we're also going to have rare spawns for Pansage, Pansear, Panpour, Zorua, White Flower Flabébé, and Orange Flower Flabébé. So those last two Flabébés are the global ones, so you can catch them in any region. Now here's the thing about the Pans. They are usually region locked. So in the Asia Pacific region, you will usually see Pansage, and then in Europe, the Middle East, Africa, and India, you will usually see Pansear. And then in the Americas, both North and South, as well as Greenland, we usually see Panpour. Now they didn't list the regions in this graphic, so I'm not entirely sure if they're all going to be spawning globally or if they're going to stay in their region locked areas. We'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. There will be field research encounters for this event for everyone as well, and in those, we are going to see encounters with Vulpix, Poliwag, Marill, Slugma, Cottonee wearing a flower crown, and then we see Pansage, Pansear, and Panpour in there again. Maybe, just maybe, Niantic will uncage them, and we will have the chance to catch all of them globally, but again, we'll have to wait and see. There will also be showcases for the event, as well as collection challenges, and the rewards for the collection challenges will include XP, Stardust, and an encounter with Cottonee wearing its flower crown. Okay, so there are a lot of good things to hunt in this event, both meta-relevant, but also just the shinies. So if you were thinking you needed the ticket to play this event, you don't. The only thing worthwhile that's locked behind a ticket is Zarude. And that's why in the meta-relevancy section, I will go over Zarude's meta-relevancy, but I'm also going to go over some great counters to Zarude that you can run in the Master League, as we will no doubt see an increase in Zarude being used in the Master League both during and shortly after this event. All right, now we can take a look at the bonus. Now the reason I moved the bonuses back in the video instead of being right up front is because it only applies to those who buy the $8 USD ticket, and it is increased spawns off the incense, not including daily adventure incense. So we're going to see more Flabébés, more Pans, as well as Cottonee wearing the flower crown, and Zorua spawning more frequently from incense if you bought the $8 ticket. And then there is also a special research story that comes with that $8 ticket that obviously gets you an encounter with Zarude, but it will also get you 2 premium battle passes, 6 silver pineapple berries, 5 rare candies, 1 incense, and various dark type and grass type Pokemon encounters, because Zarude is a dark grass dual type. Okay, that's it for the event details. Now let's talk meta relevancy, starting with the Flabébés, which evolve into Florges. Now Florges is a good budget fairy type raid attacker, ranking at number 12 or number 8, not including Megas and Shadows. It is also the best non-legendary Master League fairy. The only fairy type that outranks it in Master League is the legendary Xerneas. It can also be run in the Ultra League, where it ranks around 50, which is the top spot for a fairy in that league. Then we have Marill from the field research, which evolves into Azumarill, which is a Great League staple, ranking at number 19 right now. We also have Poliwhirl, which evolves into Poliwrath. Poliwrath is ranking number 4 in the Ultra League, and the Shadow ranks number 27 in the Grey League right now. And then there is also Venusaur, which has play in the Great and Ultra Leagues, but also has a Mega in the game. So if you don't have a good one for the Mega, you might want to try and get a high IV Bulbasaur to get a good Mega Venusaur. All right, now let's do a couple shoutouts before we move on to taking a look at Zarude's meta relevancy, as well as some counters to Zarude in the Master League. And there's just 2 here. There is Whimsicott, which evolves from Cottonee. It can be a little bit of a spice pick in the Great League, as can Shrifty, which evolves from Nuzleaf. However, the Shadow version of Shiftry ranks higher in the Great League, so you might want to just use this event to farm those candies. Okay, now let's talk meta relevancy for Zarude. So Zarude is a dark grass dual typing. It has an attack of 242, a defense of 215, and a stamina of 233, with a max CP of 4,335. 4. Now Zarude is a pretty good grass type raid attacker, ranking number 5. However, Mega and Shadow Venusaur are even better. Mega Venu will be out in raids during the event, and its first stage Bulbasaur will be in the wild as well, so you can go after that instead if you don't get the ticket. It's also not a particularly good dark type raid attacker either, so there are lots of better raid attacker options over Zarude. It is, however, a pretty good Master League Pokemon, ranking number 29 on PvPoke right now. But if you do play PvP, especially Master League, let's go over some counters to Zarude that are also top ranking meta Pokemon in that league. Now let's take a look at its typing and its moveset again, so you can see them up on screen here. You'll notice that it is a dark and grass type, and all of its moves are also dark and grass type. It doesn't have any coverage beyond its own 2 typings, which does make it a little bit easier to counter. So because it is both dark and grass, it takes 256% damage from bug type attacks and 166% damage from fire, flying, ice, fighting, fairy, and poison type attacks. So some good counters that also rank near the top 50 in Master League would include Buzzwole, Genesect Chill, and Golisopod. The other Genesects could also work as well, but they mainly rank around the 100 mark, which doesn't at all mean they're not usable, but they're just ranking a little bit lower on PvPoke. Then there is also Rayquaza, which has a double resistance to grass and takes neutral damage from dark, while Zarude will take 160% damage from Rayquaza's Dragon Ascent, which is already the hardest hitting move in the game right now, and Ray also ranks around the top 50 mark. Then there is also Xerneas and Florges, which are 2 decently hard hitting fairies that should be able to help take down Zarude as well, although it is likely that if they are running Zarude, they will have a steel type as well to counter those potential fairy threats. Then there is also Ho-Oh, which should be able to do some serious damage to Zarude as well with that Sacred Fire, and is ranking number 23 in the Master League, although Ho-Oh might be less available to people, and to get Sacred Fire on it in any of the last times it's been out, you would have to use an Elite Charge TM. And speaking of Elite Charge TMs, Groudon with the legacy move Fire Punch is ranking number 7 in the Master League meta currently, and again, that Fire Punch would do quite a bit of damage to Zarude. But again, if you don't already have a Groudon with Fire Punch on it, that would cost you an Elite Charge TM to get it on there. Now, I'm not saying always run these Pokemon in the Master League just in case you come across a Zarude, but with this event happening, we are likely to see an uptick in Zarude's usage both during and just after the event. And keep in mind, if you're switching up your team, you don't want to just bring something to counter Zarude. You want to bring something that will also counter the Pokemon that they have to cover Zarude's weaknesses. All right, those are my tips for covering for Zarude. Some of you who play the Master League a lot might have some even better tips, so if you do, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. All right, let's move on to some other tips for the event then, starting with the best Mega or Primal to use. And there are a few different types here, from Fairy to Grass to Water types, so depending on what you're going for, you might want to use a different Mega. So for example, if you're going for those Florges candies to power up a Florges for Master League or as a Fairy type raid attacker, then you'll want to go with either Mega Gardevoir, Mega Altaria, or Mega Diancie if you have one. If you're going for those grass types like Bulbasaur or Nuzleaf, then you'll obviously want to go with your highest Mega level grass type, which could be something like Mega Venusaur, Mega Sceptile, or Mega Abomasnow. Or if you're going after candies for Poliwrath or Azumarill, I guess too, although Azumarill would also be covered by the Fairy type. But if you want, say, Poliwrath and Marill candies, then you want to go with your best water type Mega, and that would give you the options of Mega Blastoise, Mega Slowbro, Mega Gyarados, Mega Swampert, or Primal Kyogre. And because there will be showcases for this event as well, I'll give you my standard showcase tip, and that is just to find those less busy showcases. So these are showcases that aren't near popular grind spots for Pokemon Go. They won't be near a lot of other stops or gyms, major transit hubs, or other major attractions in your city. Generally, if you can find these ones that are a little bit more out of the way, there will be less trainers in them, and that means they are less competitive, and you have a better chance of winning that showcase. And talking about showcase leads us nicely into the medal section, because there are now 2 new rewards in the showcase medal. So when you get the gold medal, you do get an avatar pose, which is your avatar reading a book. And then when you hit the platinum medal, you get an encounter with PhD Pikachu. So definitely try to find those less busy showcases if either of those interest you, and try to get in the top 3 so that you can work towards the platinum on that medal. And then there are going to be a few different types out during this event. So grass is the main one, and then fairy would be the next big one. So you should be able to work on both of those medals, but there are also going to be a few dark types and a few water types out. So you might be able to make a little bit of progress on both of those too. All right, everybody, if you found this video useful, consider hitting the like button and subscribing for more Pokemon Go news, tips, and live streams. If you want more Pokemon Go content right now, check out one of the videos on screen. Happy hunting. I hope you get those shiny Flabébés and the cottony with the flower crown, and we'll see you in the next one, friends.
something incredibly funky.